ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens, and thoughtful observers of the world, thank you for joining me today. I want to begin with a simple but urgent statement. Something big is about to happen in America. And the truth is, we all feel it. You don't need to be a professor, a politician, or an economist to sense the tremors beneath the surface of this nation. Every dinner table conversation, every headline, every market shock, every act of political theater is pointing us toward a turning point. The question is not whether change is coming, it is whether we are prepared for it. America stands today at a historic crossroads, one of those rare and unmistakable junctures in history when the choices of a nation do not simply shape the coming election cycle, but reverberate across generations. What we are experiencing is not just the everyday turbulence of democracy, not merely partisan bickering, but a deeper and more fundamental test of whether the American project itself can endure. Today, we are once again at that precipice. The warning signs are all around us, flashing like red lights at a dangerous intersection. And the question that confronts us is simple yet profound: which road will America choose? What makes this moment so critical is that the pressures on the nation are converging all at once. Economic instability, social division, political polarization, global realignment. Each of these would be daunting in isolation, but together they form a perfect storm. Leaders speak in slogans rather than solutions, and the system itself grinds under the weight of its contradictions. Economic inequality in America has reached levels that cannot be ignored, levels that now resemble a widening chasm between those who thrive and those who struggle merely to survive. Yet today, that promise feels hollow for millions. The reality is stark. While a small fraction of the population accumulates staggering wealth, entire communities grapple with insecurity in housing, healthcare, education, and even food. This is not simply a matter of individual hardship. It is the erosion of the very foundation upon which democracy and stability rest. And here lies the hook. When inequality becomes too vast, societies do not merely stagnate, they fracture. Consider the figures. The wealth of the top 1% in America now surpasses the combined wealth of the bottom half of the population. Corporate profits soar to record highs, while wages for the majority remain stagnant in real terms. Entire industries are dominated by monopolistic giants whose power eclipses that of governments, while small businesses, the lifeblood of local communities, struggle to keep their doors open. When people see billionaires building private rockets while they themselves cannot afford insulin, the sense of injustice becomes combustible. History teaches us that such disparities often become the fuel for unrest, upheaval, and radical change. Inequality does not just weaken purchasing power, it corrodes legitimacy. That is why this moment is so precarious. America has reached a tipping point where inequality is not just unsustainable, it is explosive. America today is living through a period of political division unlike anything seen in generations, a division so deep that it no longer resembles the healthy debates of a functioning democracy, but the hardened trenches of a society at war with itself. trust in government has fallen to historic lows. Congress is gridlocked, unable to pass meaningful reforms on issues that demand urgent action, from healthcare to climate change to economic fairness. Once citizens stop believing that their voice matters, apathy and extremism replace participation in dialogue. That is where America finds itself today, in a democracy that still holds elections but struggles to maintain legitimacy. This collapse of trust is not accidental. It has been fueled deliberately by years of divisive rhetoric, disinformation, and the amplification of fear. Consequences are already visible. Policy is no longer debated on its merits, but dismissed based on who proposes it. Republican idea is rejected by Democrats, a Democratic idea rejected by Republicans, regardless of its substance. The rhetoric grows more extreme, the willingness to compromise disappears, and violence becomes increasingly normalized. Already, America has witnessed acts of political violence that would have once been unthinkable. The storming of the Capitol was not an isolated event. It was a symptom of a deeper disease. Allies in Europe and Asia, once accustomed to clear signals from Washington, now hesitate, wondering whether America will remain a steady partner or retreat into inward-looking nationalism. When allies hesitate, partnerships weaken, and when partnerships weaken, adversaries gain room to maneuver. This is the dynamic reshaping geopolitics in real time. One need only look at recent crises to see how fragile America's standing has become. Whether in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, or the Indo-Pacific, U.S. policies are increasingly viewed not as decisive strategies, but as reactive measures. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, regardless of the arguments for or against it, signaled to many around the world that American commitments could no longer be assumed. The hesitation in addressing global challenges such as climate change has further reinforced the impression of a nation unsure of its priorities. Meanwhile, rivals are capitalizing on this moment of uncertainty. China, with its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, is reshaping economic and political ties across continents. Power without trust is fragile, and influence without credibility is fleeting. The consequences of a diminished America are not confined to foreign capitals. They come home to American citizens as well. Global instability affects markets, disrupts supply chains, fuels migration crises, and creates security risks that ultimately touch the lives of ordinary people. In the end, democracy's survival depends on this relationship. Leaders cannot succeed without citizen support, and citizens cannot thrive without leaders' responsibility. Something big is about to happen in America because the system cannot continue on its current trajectory. Whether America writes a story of decline or resurgence depends on what is done now, in this moment, before the choices narrow and the opportunity slips away, slips away, slips away, slips away, slips away.